Alrighty, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Virtual College Exploration Program for all North and South Carolina students, sponsored by the Carolinas Association of Collegiate Registrars and Admissions Officers in StarScan. Thanks for joining us today. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are turned off so our presenters cannot see or hear you. This is just one of the many sessions happening, so be sure to check out the full schedule at CACRAO.org. That is CACRAO.org. And this presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at that same website at CACRAO.org. At this time, I would like to turn it over to our presenters to begin their presentation.
Thank you so much, Courtney. So let me share my screen. All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us today. We are so thankful that you have decided to just take some time to meet with us. My name is Brian Woodard. I am an assistant director within the Office of Undergraduate Admissions at UNC Chapel Hill. And I am joined today by Melody Levy, who is going to help us with any of the questions that you may have throughout the session. So feel free to use the Q&A feature to ask any questions that you have. And that way we can address anything that you want to know a little bit more about the university. A little bit about me. I am lucky enough to be a double alumni of the university. I actually transferred to Chapel Hill from Alamance Community College and then completed a degree in history and then came back to the university and got a master's degree through the School of Education. Again, I want to make sure that this is a fruitful conversation. And so as you ask your questions towards the end, we will make sure that we have time to address any questions that you may have about the university and those type of things. One thing that we want to make sure that we highlight is that UNC is proudly public. We are the nation's first public institution. We opened our doors way back in 1789, and being public shapes our identity and our mission. As a university, it impacts how we interact with our students, how we interact with the community, how we interact with one another. And each year we bring in about 750 to 800 transfer students on campus. And these students are entering into our College of Arts and Sciences or one of our 10 professional schools that we have on campus. The main difference between applying to the College of Arts and Sciences and a professional school is typically the professional school may require a few extra requirements, maybe prereqs, maybe recommendations, those type things. And when you're thinking about applying to the university, we want to make sure that you have an understanding of what our class is made up of. As a public institution, about a third of our students actually come from a North Carolina community college. Of our students overall, the average GPA is about a 3.6. And so those are just some numbers that students like to hear about and we like to share with you. As far as going back to the being public and the public identity, the university, since early on, we've had this, or the mission has been to carry out a promise to better the lives of those in North Carolina and to those around the world. And what this basically translates into is that at the foundation of our university, the intention of our goal is to improve the lives of others. And so there's various resources in which we do that through whether it's research, opportunities for students to get active in the classroom, in the community, through resources that are available on campus. And we really want to make sure that students, through their experience at Carolina, have the opportunity to improve their colleagues, their family members, and those that are right down the road or millions or thousands of miles away. And so these opportunities are available to our students through a various way or a various group of opportunities for you. With that, our student group body is very diverse. And when we think about diversity, we are thinking about things that come from many different backgrounds, multifaceted, whether that be coming from an urban area, a rural area, a suburban area, and whether you're coming from a religious background or whatnot, high income, low income, really everything that can kind of mix together to help us build a cohort and a community that they're going to form reciprocal relationships. And so, where one group may have an experience that another group doesn't, they can learn off of each other. And in doing so, they're going to learn from each other and learn how to, make the community better. And we have seen this on campus. We've seen it flourish. And we really do want to create a campus where students can come together to make a difference, not only within the brick and mortar buildings on our campus, but outside of our campus. And so we really do enjoy building our cohort. And so as you're active on our campus, we're going to have opportunities for you to connect with others, because that is something that's going to help you as you continue to exceed, even post UNC. There's over 900 student clubs and organizations available to you on campus, and these can range from anything from a professional organization, Pre-Dental Association, Phi Theta Kappa. It includes our Greek life. It also includes service organizations. Perhaps you want to do dance marathon, where you can dance for 24 hours and raise funding for the pediatric center at the hospital. It could be something silly. We have a free food club on campus where this group will actually look through all of the events that's happening on campus, and they will post where free food will be. And so these are kind of silly, but it's again connecting people. And that's what we want to make sure that people are doing, not only connecting the academic concepts, but connecting one another to each other so that we can continue to grow and flourish as a community at the university. As we talk about those different opportunities for students to explore and grow, the university, as we were saying earlier, or as I was saying earlier, the vast majority of our programs are within the College of Arts and Sciences. There's over 70 different majors available to students. Multiply that by 2 or 3, and that's how many minors are available to students. And so you can study anything from biology, chemistry, to studio arts. You could study peace, war, and defense. All of these different opportunities are for you. And in addition to that, we do have our 10 professional schools on campus, including public health, nursing, dental hygiene, clinical lab science. So all of these opportunities are there for you to kind of explore your interest. And perhaps while you're looking at a course, you may find a different passion that you didn't know you had before. Within our majors, about 60% of our students will participate in original research, and every student is going to do some type of research on campus. And when we think about research, we're not thinking so much about just being in a lab with gloves and a lab coat. This could be studying abroad in Israel on ancient mosaic sites. This could be working down the road here in Catawba Valley or in Catawba County to look at different Lumbee Indian tribes and just their ancient organizations and those type things. So we do want students to engage in research and then study abroad. If you want to go overseas, those opportunities are available to you. I've seen students go to Italy, to Spain, to Israel, to Antarctica, all types of opportunities. And if we don't have one, you can help create one. And so think about that as you may want to leave your heel print, so to speak, on campus by doing these things. Going back to how do we build our class, it's going to go into a little bit about the application process, as well as just, what are we looking for as a committee as we're looking to build a group. So the admissions process to the university, we are holistic in our review, meaning we're going to look at everything you provide to us. There's no one number, no one yes, no, none of those one thing are not one thing that's going to get you either admitted or denied into the university. We look at everything you provide, from essays, recommendations, your transcripts, All of those things come together as we're trying to make and build a cohort that again is going to create that reciprocal relationship to build off of one of other or each other. Um, with that, we are a common application school, and so all of the transfer applications are going to be through the Common App, with the exception of nursing. Nursing has their own application through Nursing CAS. And so as you're completing your Common application or Nursing CAS application, you're going to want to make sure that we're really getting a sense of who you are. Context plays a big role in the admissions process because, again, it's holistic. You're not defined by one grade. You're not defined by a test score. We're going to review everything that you have with it to help you as you're making that journey. With the application, we do ask for the Common App, an application fee or a fee waiver. The application fee is $85, but again, there are fee waivers for you. We'll ask you for a letter of recommendation from an academic area. We'll also ask you for 2 short answer essay questions within the Common App. If you're applying to a professional school, you may see additional essays or additional recommendations that are required or prerequisites. Just keep that in mind as you're completing the application. We also want to note that we are in a pandemic right now, and so we understand that times are different. And so there are a good number of students who've asked, since the spring semester, I haven't really been able to get involved. I haven't been able to do some of the things that I would have normally done because of the circumstances with COVID-19. We understand that. The system understands that. And so this year, there is a 1-year SAT, ACT, that is going to be, we're test optional. So it's not required to attend UNC or any of the public schools in the state. So testing is not a requirement this year. So keep that in mind. If you want to provide us with testing, it's optional. If you feel like it's going to show you in a higher light, feel free to provide it. It's one additional thing that we can look at as we're reviewing your application. But again, it's not a make or break thing. If you do self-report your scores and you are admitted, we will ask you for those official scores later on. But at the moment that you're applying, you would not need to provide the official score report. In addition to that, the Common Application has included an additional question for students to be able to express the impact that they have had or that they've faced based upon COVID. And so if you want to provide additional information, it's about 250 words that just lets us know what impact COVID has had on you. Perhaps you have lost a position, or you're not able to participate as you would have before, or there are other family circumstances that have been impacted by COVID. Feel free to share that with us. It can be negative, it can be positive. If you've been able to spend more time with family and that's helped foster a better relationship, feel free to share that. The more information we have, the better the decisions and the review that we'll be able to participate in and have for you. And so, whoops, went a little bit quick there. All right, and so with that, if you choose to provide that with us or to us, excuse me, we will review that and take that into consideration with your application in addition to the other items that you have. Now, with the application itself, for those students who are applying to the College of Arts and Sciences, your application deadline is going to be February the 15th of 2021. The application is already open. You can go ahead and complete that if you would wish. And we'll start reviewing in February. If you're applying to a professional school, again, keep in mind that they may have different deadlines. For example, radiological science asks that you complete your application by December the 8th. And so you want to pay attention to their website as well so that you can go ahead and get that material into us. Overall, whether you apply earlier with a professional school or with the College of Arts and Sciences, we're going to release our decisions in early April to mid-April. With that, we will have you a transfer credit report to let you know how your credits are going to transfer into UNC by May 1. And then we ask that you let us know if you'd like to enroll at Chapel Hill by May 15th. Um, and those are important deadlines as far as the application process. In addition to that, we want to make sure students who are admitted to UNC have the ability to attend. And so Carolina is need blind in the admissions process. And we strive to make sure that our financial aid office meets 100% of your demonstrated need, whether that's through scholarships, grants, work study, loans if we have to go that way. But really, we want to make sure that we're helping you as you come along the way. But we've got to get you to do two things to be able to do that. We have to have you complete the FAFSA form, the free application for federal student aid, and the CSS profile through the College Board. Both of these forms can be found through studentaid.unc.edu, and they need to be completed by March 1. Both forms are open. You can go ahead and use those now and have them submitted. We won't view any of the information until after decisions go out, but by having it with us, when we release decisions, we'll be able to get you a financial aid offer within a week or two. Now, I know that students are going through tough times, and with FAFSA and CSS profile, they do look at your tax information from 2 years ago. However, if you're admitted and you feel like your financial aid is not reflective of the current situation that you're in, you do have an opportunity through that website, and you'll be able to see that, to kind of ask for a need analysis review. So just keep that in mind. You have to be admitted first, but that is an opportunity for you. Again, we want to make sure students that are admitted have the opportunity to attend. We have a really great program that I just want to highlight real quick called the Carolina Covenant. And this program guarantees that students graduate debt-free. Your financial aid package, if selected for the Carolina Covenant, no additional forms outside of the CSS profile and the FAFSA form, it will guarantee that your financial aid package will be grants, scholarships, and work study. So you wouldn't have to pay anything back. Great program. It also includes academic as well as social opportunities for students to connect, to again make that Carolina experience a little bit more encompassing, if you will. The transfer experience, there is no one transfer experience. We want students to know that as a Carolina student, you are a Tar Heel. No matter how you got here, you're going to be a Tar Heel on campus. If you want to remain tied to specifically just transfer students, there are clubs and organizations for that. There's the Tar Heel Transfers. There are Transfer United, which is a living learning community for students. If you want to branch out a little bit, again, there's over 900 clubs and organizations. There are intramural sports. There's JV, varsity sports, tons of opportunities for you. And you will have the opportunity to participate in everything that a first year or a student who started as a first year has. Research, internships, study abroad. You can create clubs, organizations. You could run for student government. All of those opportunities are there for you. We want to make sure that you really kind of pave that journey that you want to have at the university. We also want to make sure that you're planning for success. The most successful students on our campus are those that are seeking out the resources that are available to them, whether that be our writing center, our learning center, the Center for Academic and Student Services, and also undergraduate research. All of these organizations or offices are available to students, and those students who are reaching out to those resources are the ones that are doing best. And so I do encourage you, to reach out. Don't let your pride keep you from attending or visiting the Writing Center. It's a great resource. And we want to make sure that you take advantage of those opportunities. If another resource is our transfer credit reevaluation. If you get a transfer credit, when you get your transfer credit report, if you don't agree with one of the evaluations that we've given you, you have the opportunity to submit a syllabus and have that course reevaluated. Take advantage of that resource. Don't feel like, well, this is what they gave me, this is what I've got to have. You have the opportunity to have it reevaluated. So keep that in mind. Again, just kind of, I enjoy the questions of this portion. So just to sum up everything real quick, um, your application is through the Common App, unless you're applying to nursing. That's through NursingCast. I am happy to go through any of the parts of the Common Application or the application process if you wish. Just ask it in the Q&A section. And also, the application deadlines, they vary for professional schools, but for the College of Arts and Sciences, it's going to be February the 15th. Um, And then your financial aid forms. That is important because we want to make sure that we're able to help meet as much of that need as possible. And so those forms both opened on October 1, and those forms should be completed by March 1. The earlier you complete them, the more we're able to consider you for all of our student aid on campus and those type things. Again, typically the decisions will go out in early to mid-April. By the end of April, if you've got your financial aid forms in, you should receive a financial aid award package, as well as we'll get you a credit report by May 1. And then you have until May 15th to let us know if you'd like to enroll at the university. And with that, I want to turn it over to some of the questions that we have. So if you just bear with me one moment. Let's see what we've got. Great question. And so the question is, what are the minimum transfer requirements and what makes a transfer student competitive for acceptance? So again, we're holistic. So there's no minimum as far as a transfer student. To be considered a transfer student at UNC, as long as you've taken one college level course post high school, we review you as a transfer student. Now, academics are important. The fewer courses that you have post high school, the more high school is going to play a role in our admissions decision. However, the more courses you have post high school, let's say you're applying to us as a junior transfer, then high school will not play as much of a role. And so really we're looking at everything overall. How have you done in your courses? Are you doing well? Have you continued to do well? And so there's no, you got to have this, this, and this to be admitted. It's holistic. Again, the average GPA of our transfer students last year was about a 3.6. And about a third of those students came from a North Carolina community college. There are virtual tours available to students. And you're able to go to our admissions website to be able to click on those. And we also do virtual information sessions if you want to attend another session and just get some more insight. If you have the opportunity to visit our campus, we do have self-guided tours. And hopefully in the spring, we'll have more options. We just don't know yet. So we want to make sure that we're thinking about that. As far as your writing and your essays, I think the key thing that we're looking for there is to get a feel of who you are. It's really an opportunity for us to hear your voice and be authentic. Don't feel like you have to write in a way that you think we want to hear. Don't try to be funny if you're not funny. Be you, because you're going to bring a unique aspect to the university, and hopefully we'll be able to bring you in. And so that's the key part within our essays. For many of the professional schools, I think it's important to think about what their essays are asking. So if they're asking you about your experiences within that particular field, they're probably looking for that. But in the overall admissions process for us, the general UNC essays, we're trying to get to know who you are, where you're coming from, those type things. Again, here's a great question. If you were to apply today and complete the application, would you have to wait until early March to get your decision? And that is right. And so we won't review applications until after the admissions deadline, because we want to review everyone at the same time. And we will release all of the decisions that we have at the same time in early to mid-April. And so students who have a gap in their academic journey, that is completely fine. We will ask within the application itself what have you been doing? And so it's not something that we use to judge anyone. It's not something that like that. It's just we're trying to get a viewpoint of what your academic journey has been. Our transfer population, we've had students anywhere from 18 years old all the way up into their 70s. So really giving us that additional information is going to be helpful to us. Your first attempt may have been lower, and that's fine. What we're looking for and we're paying attention to is what's your most recent work? Is there a good amount of recent work that has been an improvement? And so we'll need to see all of the transcripts from any school you've attended, but we're going to look at that holistically. And we'll say, or we'll look at it and we'll say, okay, the student started out, perhaps they had a rough start, spent some years in employment, matured a little bit, those type things. And then we'll look at your most recent work. I think the key thing to think about is we're not looking for reasons to deny students. We're looking for reasons to bring students in. We want more students on campus. And so that is something that we will look at within the process itself. As far as a couple of students have asked about associate's degrees and those type things, it really depends on where you're coming from. Right now, we don't have any articulation agreements with schools outside of North Carolina. However, UNC Chapel Hill is a part of the North Carolina Comprehensive Articulation Agreement, which basically means that if you attend a North Carolina community college and you earn your associate's degree there without making anything below a C, you can come into the university and by having that degree, we will give you a credit for at least 60 hours and it will cover all of your lower level requirements. So you wouldn't have to worry about social science or those type things unless your major specifically asks for it. The agreement does not cover your foreign language or your LFIT because that's a graduation requirement, but you can complete those while completing your associate in arts or associate in science at a North Carolina community college. Looking at the other question here. Cool thing about early college students in North Carolina, you are allowed to choose whether you want to apply as a first-year student or as a transfer student. And so that's important in knowing that if you're at an officially recognized early college in North Carolina and you're getting your associate's degree and your high school diploma at the same time, you can, again, choose to apply as a first-year student or as a transfer student. And there's benefits and there's challenges to both, if you will. And so I encourage you to look at our website. We do have a frequently asked questions section on our website to address the different opportunities, the different challenges, or the different, advantages, disadvantages to each one. So we want to make sure that you do have the most information possible for those. As far as job placement per department, it's going to vary. Overall, when we do our end of year survey of students who graduated, about 96% of students overall have either within 6 months of graduating are either employed at a graduate or professional school program. And so we do have a great career services office on campus, as well as the departments often have folks who work with students for career development, making sure your resume is on point, and those type things. As far as specific departments, we would need to look at each one to see what they have available there. But overall, our University Career Services is going to be the best place that you can look for. So when we're looking at your application, the great thing about transferring, we don't have a quota, if you will, where first-year students, we have to have 82% have to come from North Carolina. In our transfer pool, that's not the case. And so when we're reviewing our applicants for admissions, whether you're coming from North Carolina or you're coming from out of state, we're reviewing you, the applicant. We're not having to worry about how is our overall cohort going to play or roundabout out. And so in general, if you're taking courses that are general education, courses that we have something that's similar to, those courses are going to transfer. You can still transfer in with an associate's degree. It's just we wouldn't give you a block of credit for that. Typically, we don't offer credit for technical courses or professional courses. And so, again, those are things that we can look at as well. Great question. If you are in the military currently or you have served in the military, first off, thank you so much for your service. Your application process will be the exact same. The only difference, we may ask you for a JST, and that is a Joint Services Transcript. And the reason is that can, based on your JST, we may be able to grant you a small amount of credit for your service, as well as your lifetime fitness requirement. Again, it doesn't affect the enrollment process or anything like that. We do have a Veterans Resource Center on campus, as well as a certifying officer to make sure that if you do have benefits based on your service, those can be officially recognized and you can receive those benefits. And then we do have a great student veterans organization on campus as well. But as far as the application process, it would be nothing different. You would apply as a transfer student, and same thing, February 15th, if you're doing arts and sciences, may be different if you're going into a professional school. Great question. And so someone is completing their associate in arts in May 2021. Is there a guarantee that they can transfer as a junior? So if a student, again, with that North Carolina Comprehensive Articulation Agreement, those students are guaranteed a spot at one of the public institutions in North Carolina as a junior transfer. I can't guarantee you a spot that it'll be Carolina. We would have to look at the application process for that. But you would have a spot at one of those, one of the public schools in North Carolina. The only other opportunity or the other item that I will say is that there is a great program called the Carolina Student Transfer Excellence Program, which is for students who are at one of our 14 partner community colleges. And with that program, they can guarantee you a spot in the College of Arts and Sciences. However, you have to be able to, or you have to be at the community college for at least another year. And so your next opportunity for that program would be to apply in April. And then you would be agreeing that you would stay at the community college for the fall and spring of 2021 and 2022 to enroll in the fall of 2022. That was a lot of information that I just shot at you, but that is an option for you. You know, great question. You know, if you have a passion or an interest in computer science, but you also have a passion in songwriting and those type things, if you feel like that is an important aspect of who you are and how you're going to add to the overall campus community, feel free to add that. If you connect computer science with songwriting, add that. Let us really know why you're passionate about these things. It's not going to be a detriment to your application. It'll help us as we're reviewing overall for your admissions. And so please do take the time within your application to kind of let us know what those extracurriculars are. And that way we can work with you, or we can see kind of what you're doing. As far as that agreement between the North Carolina Community College System and the UNC public institutions, it's called the North Carolina Comprehensive Articulation Agreement, or the CAA for short. And you can look at northcarolina.edu for information on that. Or you could look at the North Carolina Community College System, and I would just Google that if I were you, and it will show you the courses and the types of things that you can look at to see if the courses will transfer in and those type things. Great question again. Do the majority of students who apply to UNC as a new student or as a first-year student or as a transfer student have community service on their applications? I would say the vast majority do, But if you don't, it's not a make or break. Again, we're looking to build a cohort that's going to create that reciprocal relationship where if you haven't had a bunch of opportunities to get involved in community service because you've had a part-time job or you've had a full-time job and you've been raising little ones, but once you arrive at campus, that may open opportunities for you to get involved at your child's school and get involved in community service that way. And you can also bring in perspectives for other students who haven't had the opportunities to work full-time or part-time and those type things. Uh, as far as is Chapel Hill family friendly? I think that we are. We do have a lot of opportunities for students. We have family student housing on campus. There's also resources through the Women's Center on campus to help with funding for daycare if needed, as well as there's a student parent organization. It's one of the 900 clubs and organizations on campus to really help students to make sure that they feel at home with their family while they're on campus and those type of things. As far as getting in contact with the different departments on campus, I encourage you to look at their websites, and they will have a section for prospective students. I know for clinical lab science, they also have a section for transfer students since it is a professional program. And so they will give you a contact for that program specifically when you click on that. And then with the academic departments, I would typically look at the student services coordinator there. It may be a different name or title, but that's somewhere that I would look just because they're helpful for you. Right, great questions here. And so early college students are able, if they're completing that associate's degree at the time that they're graduating, they are able to apply to the professional schools. And you could apply directly to the School of Business. And if not admitted, we would automatically review your application for arts and sciences. And then you would have the opportunity, if admitted, to attend in the College of Arts and Sciences and perhaps reapply to one of the professional schools. So you do have that opportunity. There are apartments on campus. So on campus, we have a lot of different housing opportunities as well as off campus. Off campus, there are apartments spread throughout. We do have housing opportunities, or we do have a free transit system that goes throughout the community. And so you'll have access to that. And then you also have on campus, we have our regular style dorms where you would share the dorm with one other person. We have suite style. And again, all of these are what normally happens on campus. Right now with COVID, things are a little bit different, but just keep that in mind. And then we also have apartment style housing on campus in Ram Village. And so that's where you would have your own room, but you would share the kitchen and living room with 3 other students. Again, that is on campus. Your financial aid can help cover housing on campus as well as off campus. The thing to keep in mind with that, though, is with your financial aid, there's a set amount that we're able to award through the Carolina Covenant or through aid overall for housing. And the academic year is typically 10 months. And so if you're going to be living off campus in an apartment and you have to sign a 12-month contract, you just want to keep that in mind as you're looking for different options. And typically we're able to award, if you qualify, I think it's up to about $6,800 per year for housing. And so if it's going to be more than that, you'll want to take that into consideration as you're looking at different places to live. The physical therapy program, that is a graduate program, professional program that is one that we have for students after they earn their baccalaureate degree. So I don't have as much information on that program. However, if you were to just go to our website, unc.edu, and just look at that, we would be able to, or they will give you the prerequisites and what they need for you to do to make sure that you're a viable candidate for that program. Great question as far as becoming a resident advisor. Each one of our campus communities have resident advisors on campus. And so one of the benefits to that is the housing discount. So they would cover your housing, I believe, depending on where you're at. And then you would be responsible for programming, making sure folks are doing what they need to within the residence hall. And then also if there are any issues that come about, making sure that you're reaching out to the appropriate folks to make sure that students are getting the resources that they need on campus. And again, each one of our residence halls has multiple resident advisors, so those are opportunities for you. Typically, you would apply for that, though. It would be during the second semester of your first year. The maximum amount of credits available or that students can transfer in, whether you're coming from a 2-year school or a 4-year school, is 75 hours. And so after 75 hours, we cannot award any additional hours just because you have to earn 45 credit hours at UNC Chapel Hill to be able to graduate with a degree from here. But you can transfer in up to 75 hours of transferable work. Again, thank you all so much for spending time with us and submitting those great questions. I want you to know if you do have additional questions, you're always welcome to reach out to us. We are available to you. You can send us an email. You can also contact us. And don't feel like your question is going to be silly or anything like that. I know sometimes students feel that way, and don't. I promise you, that's what we're here for. If we can take 1/10 of the stress of applying to different schools away by answering that question, allow us to do so. We really want to help you with that. Again, there's a link on here for a short virtual tour of campus, just so you can kind of get to see what it is. And again, we hope that we're able to offer in-person tours soon. And we will definitely try to do so as soon as it is safe and we can keep everyone on campus as well as our visitors safe. That is the biggest thing we want to make sure to do. And, again, if you didn't get a chance to have your question addressed, please feel free to send us those emails. There was a question about dental hygiene, and this year they are not going to require you to provide the 20 hours of shadow work. However, if you've done it, please feel free to go ahead and provide that with your application. It's not going to be, a hindrance if you don't have it. If you do have it, I don't see where it'll be a hindrance for having it. I think it'll be a good thing to have as you are applying to their program. Again, we are so thankful for you. Please make sure that you're staying safe. If you do have questions, please feel free to reach out. We are so thankful for you. I hope everyone has a great day. Goodbye.
Awesome. Thank you for that great information. And thank you everyone for joining us today. When you close this window, there will be a link to a quick 4-question survey. We would greatly appreciate your feedback on this programming. Also, this is just one of the many sessions being offered, so you can check out those additional sessions at CACRAO.org. And again, in just about a week, not only will this session be available, but as will all other recorded sessions will be available on that same website at CACRAO.org. So thank you both so much for all that information today, and I hope everyone has a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.